Welcome. This is Monty once again from DPL Surveillance Equipment. How you guys doing this morning? It's a nice semi-quiet morning in beautiful Camarillo, California. Here, we're going to be recording an article and recording a podcast and publishing this article along with it as usual. So, how are you guys doing? I'm just finishing up some chores involving wiping down my car. I think I told you guys, just because I didn't, a lot of times doing your chores or doing the routine things in the morning is rather therapeutic, mainly because you get to kill two birds with one stone. One, you get to have a very clean house, car, boat, yacht, whatever it is that you're involving yourself with at the time. And then at the same time, because it's a routine events or whatever, you get a chance to think about other things and wake up and contemplate what you're going to do today, what things are important in your life or your business, evaluate whether or not you're making progress or not. Some of these things are very important. So every once in a while, be introspective. Take a look at what you're doing, where you're going, where you are. Try to get away from this noise. Are you indeed making progress or not? And then that way, from day to day, hopefully, you'll be able to see whether or not you're just spinning your wheels or not. So it's good to evaluate what you're doing every once in a while, as personally and as a business or business owner or whatever. So what's going on today? Keep hearing the recession word thrown about more and more. Reading too many articles and seeing too many references on YouTube, etc., to the R word, recession word. And it just leads me to believe that a lot of people seem to think that there's going to be a major problem. And I'm usually a contrarian in terms of what most people think is usually wrong. They may have it right on this occasion. It may be true that we could be in for a downturn, mainly because when you have lack of consumer demand for the things that corporate America has to offer, that's not a good sign. So, if anything, you want to see strong, robust sales and continued earnings, and you don't want to see so many companies suffering as far as their sales and the bottom line is concerned. So it's one thing to, shun this type of information and to look at the positives elsewhere, which there are some positives, a lot of positives elsewhere. But more and more, I'm starting to get the impression that the humongous amount of debt, the lack of sales, the sellouts in the equity markets, certain things just don't portend very well. Anyway, my name is Monty Henry, owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment. I run a full-service surveillance and security equipment company. We have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products, 24/7, 365 tech sales and customer support. We have perhaps the largest inventory of items that not only can you buy, but you can rent and you can lay away as well. We have, what else? We have a huge and growing media library consisting of articles, podcasts, blogs, demonstration videos about the products. All of this information is free and is available for you to share with others and comment on it. As a matter of fact, we appreciate your comments. If you're critical of some of the things that are written in the articles or recorded on the videos or on the podcast, chime in with your opinion, your response. We don't mind getting a diverse amount of feedback, constructive or not, from other people. If it's trolling or something, I'll just delete it, of course. But if it's halfway decent intellectual debate or something like that, then we can put it on there and keep it on there. Maybe inspire others to participate as well in the discussion. Also, by the way, speaking of the way we operate, we have Bitcoin capability as far as the ability to accept Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum and Bcash into our shopping cart. So you crypto millionaires, you may want to take advantage of the ability to use your Bitcoin and your Litecoin and Ethereum and Bcash in our shopping cart. We want to get away from the MasterCards and the Visas and American Express and the HSBCs of the world, the Wells Fargo, Citibanks, UBS. Those blood-sucking vampires are really ruining the economy, bringing it down faster than it otherwise would be brought down, mainly because, they have a license to steal, a license to commit money laundering, a license to rig interest rates and such. All the things that they're doing, there's no way me and you could do that. So we want to make sure that we know who the enemy is, and we know what's causing the problems out there. So make sure you understand what you're up against. As you know, with Bitcoin and blockchain, it's if you don't know, do your research, because it's transparent, peer-to-peer, decentralized, no central authority, no need for government intervention, no way to do quantitative easing and manipulation as far as the amount of Bitcoin, or confiscating it, or putting a lien on it and seizing it like the IRS does with your local bank accounts and property or whatever. That doesn't happen in the Bitcoin world. You hold your private keys, get your ledger or your Ledger Nano or your Treasure wallet, and keep your few $100s or your few $100 million in your own possession. And that way, when you travel in and out of the country, you can take your wealth and your assets with you. If you're outside the United States, then you can make sure that your life savings is intact and with you all the time. It's safe and secure beyond the reach of anyone. Law enforcement, government, doesn't matter. Moving right along, our website has been completely redesigned. It works very well on mobile devices, PDAs, iPhones, laptops, whatever. Should work very well. Live chat service is up and running. So if you want to chat with us live, people from all around the world, they rather chat online sometimes rather than make phone call or email. It's just very quick and easy. We have tons of canned responses and links to products so we can quickly engage with you people online during the chat sessions. So that works out very well. And then also, what else? I think that pretty much covers it. Let's take a look at this article and see, because I think this article is very practical and very useful, going to be very useful for a lot of people. We are experts, by the way, in cybersecurity. We've been publishing articles and videos and how-to information about how to protect your online privacy. We've been doing this for years and years, and every time we come across any resources or additional information, we like to make it available to you guys, and today is no exception. The name of this article is called "The Key to Being Safer Online is Actually a Key." Again, the key to being safer online is actually a key. The best way to protect yourself against hackers and phishers is to turn on two-factor authentication. Then get a YubiKey or Google Titan key. Let's talk about seat belts. Specifically, the three-point belt that Niels Bohlin, a Volvo engineer, invented in 1959. Bohlin's creation didn't require companies to change the way they made cars. It just added a part and a small extra step for drivers. Yet wearing a seatbelt proved so much safer than driving without one that it spurred a wave of car safety innovation that continues today. Steina Ensvord, chief executive at online security company Yubico, sees parallels to her work trying to shape the future of online security. The internet came along, fast and new and exciting and totally unsafe. It needed a seatbelt. Ms. Ensvord has spent the past decade building hardware and software that makes using the internet safer without adding unnecessary complication. I like to just say that typically there's a trade-off between security and usability or convenience. And in the security world, most of us know, especially as cybersecurity experts know, people aren't going to implement security if it's too cumbersome, if it requires too many steps and too much thinking, what we call friction. So if there's too much friction in terms of the things that you have to do as a user, people are going to just forget about it. They're just going to go ahead and click the link and submit whatever information to whoever, and they're not going to be so much concerned about what they say or what they do online, because to use security has been too complicated. So any step towards making this built in is definitely a big bonus. And I think the way this implementation works with the YubiKey and the Titan key, I think this is going to make sure that you don't have to do much or think about much at all. As a matter of fact, you can operate typically the way you normally operate once you implement this particular hardware solution. Moving right along. I've been testing Yubico's newest product, the YubiKey 5, along with a new Google gadget called the Titan key. Both devices plug into a computer, authenticating you with a handshake that can be more secure than a password or authorization code. They can also do the same with some smartphones, either by plugging into a port or communicating wirelessly. Right now, a key like these is your best defense against anyone trying to get into your email, social media, or work accounts. They are also the beginning of a complete overhaul in how security works on the internet, one that might finally kill off the password. Dance the two-step. Keys like the ones I've been testing are known as a second factor in your internet security arsenal. You may have heard of two-factor or two-step authentication. The first factor is almost always your password, while the second is usually a code sent to or generated by your phone. But the second factor can really be anything that can show it's actually you typing in the password. Why do this? Or why do we need this? Because passwords are a disaster. Years of hacks have exposed an absurd amount of user data. Researchers at Google estimated that 3.3 billion credentials were exposed by breaches between March 2016 and March 2017. That included several of my passwords and likely some of yours. Because so many people reuse passwords across services, any breach can ripple across your entire internet life. I recommend setting up any kind of two-factor authentication you can, especially on your most sensitive accounts. Your email certainly, but also your banks, your file storage, and anywhere you keep things you'd rather not lose. Pair that with a good password manager, and you're way ahead of the game. Lock it down. A security key is the most secure two-factor device you'll find, though it's probably overkill for most people. I like the Google Titan key and the YubiKey, which comes in multiple sizes and USB types. All cost between $20 and $60. They work most seamlessly with computers, but are increasingly phone compatible as well if you use Android. For now, iPhone users are basically out of luck, though YubiKey is working on a product for Apple's Lightning port. Once you get a key, you set it up by registering it in the settings of whichever app you're using. Sites like Gmail, Dropbox, and Facebook already support security keys, and the numbers are growing fast. Once it's set up, you just plug it in when prompted. Generally, after typing in your password, then you tap a button on the key, which confirms there's a human at the helm. The smallest YubiKeys can actually hide in your USB port, so all you have to do is tap. Why leave it in? Hackers who come across your password probably don't have physical access to your laptop. Likewise, someone who steals your laptop probably won't have access to your passwords. When you tap, the app quickly verifies the key and lets you in. Security keys don't send anything sensitive over the internet. They use a system called public key cryptography to verify your identity. The app sends a secret code only you can identify. When your private key decrypts it, then encodes a reply message that sends it back a thumbs up that you are who you claim to be. You don't need to understand all this to use this tech, but I'll include an explainer information for you guys by way of videos and such. Security keys also protect users from being tricked out of their credentials through a process known as phishing, spelled with a PH. If you get an official-looking email from Bank of America telling you to review your account activity, a security key will attempt to verify that you are on the real site. If you are actually on a page that's designed to steal your credentials, it won't log you in. Even if you use a key, even if you only use a key on your computer, it's still worth having one around. It's much faster than digging out your phone every time you need to log into something. And it's good to have a spare handy, if you ever lose your key. Without it, recovery can be a multi-step process. Even if it gets stolen, hackers can't turn it against you unless they know your passwords too. Post-password era, passwords aren't going away anytime soon, according to Brett McDowell, Executive Director at the FIDO Alliance, a group working on cybersecurity standards across devices and services. FIDO, F-I-D-O, stands for Fast Identity Online. Passwords mostly are just too entrenched. They do have some use, though. Without them, what happens if you lose your keys? Still, he says, passwords are losing their value as credentials with every passing year. The tech you need for better security won't always be a key. Any device that works over USB, NFC, or Bluetooth is currently supported by FIDO's technology. It might even be a chip inside your phone or laptop itself that allows you to log into everything the way you unlock your device. Your fingerprint or face could be the only password you need anywhere. In that world, life online gets a lot easier. You sit down at your computer. As soon as you're in, you immediately log into every app and service you use. The system might be set to periodically check on your typing patterns or word choices to make sure it's still you at the keys. Once you set everything up, bulk it in, you might say, security should never get in your way again. It's just there in case something happens, making sure you get out unscathed. So I think this is going to be an ideal solution, mainly because, again, you don't have to do a whole lot. Once you purchase this product, set it up, it's basically going to verify who you are between you and your phone, between you and your laptop and the websites you visit. That information will be transmitted back and forth just to verify that you are a human person sitting at your own smartphone or your own laptop or desktop. Okay. Again, public key cryptography is the way to go, and basically creates what we call a hash that allows the transmission of information for identification purposes only, in terms of making sure that the original hash sent from your phone, sent from your laptop, desktop, or something matches the identification checking process, going back and forth. I'll include more comprehensive information about cryptography and as it pertains to YubiKey and the Titan key from Google. I'll include that as well. So just rest assured that this could very well be the answer that a lot of people are looking for when it comes to not having to do much more than just continue to operate the way you operate. Pretty much like when you register your fingerprint or your iris on your iPhone or Android phones. Once that's done, then that pretty much allows you to not have to worry so much about anything else that you're doing. So hopefully we can extend this to your online browsing and everything else. And maybe one day, as mentioned in the article, Google with this Android operating system and Apple with the iPhones, they'll incorporate the same YubiKey or Titan key technology into the phones, so that you're periodically verifying that this is indeed your product, your phone, your laptop, desktop, iPad, whatever it is. Okay, so we want to build this technology into the smart devices, to the smartphones and such, and not have to worry so much about it. So as I like to say at the conclusion of every podcast, you guys keep your eyes and ears open and stay safe out there. Bye. Have a great day.